sip of my tea. My boyfriend was so lovely and made me one, and it's a pumpkin chai. Chais are kind of my favorite teas because I don't particularly enjoy tea usually. I only like chais, but this one is delicious. So if you haven't drank anything yet, this is your sign to grab a cup of tea like whatever description of the item. And it got so old so quick. In the beginning I was like, oh, this is nice, because it constantly says like, it feels like a Wattpad story, okay, because it's constantly like, I put on my vintage green checkered Prada dress with my 1985 Louboutins in green. I don't know, I'm exaggerating, okay, but it's constantly like that. And then she talks about the guy, and it's like, he comes up with his diesel ripped special edition jeans and his Armani black shirt. It feels so Wattpad-y, okay? And it really annoyed me. And funnily enough, there is a Instagram page, I believe it's called Magnolia's Closet, or What Magnolia Wears, something like that. You find it if you just look up at Magnolia Parks on Instagram. And now, so many people said this was very similar to Gossip Girl, or it's got Gossip Girl vibes, and I know, I see where it's trying to do that, but it just doesn't do that for me. And if you check out that Instagram page, from her overly explicit explanations of what different people are wearing, they made collages with what the people in this book were wearing and what Magnolia was wearing in the outfits she described. And oh god, maybe I have no style for fashion, but maybe they do not have any style of fashion in this book. But these outfits, they're atrocious, okay? So once I kind of had this in my head, like there was no going back. I don't know, I think I will eventually read the other 3 books of this, especially because I am kind of excited for Daisy Hates, because I am hoping it will go in a bit of a different direction than Magnolia, because I don't think I got very warm with Magnolia, and I especially didn't go get warm with BJ. What an ass hat. Like, if a man is trash, then it would be him. I don't know, I don't find this stuff romantic or anything, like, no. Nah, I was not rooting for this man whatsoever. I was gonna say, like, girl, no, if this was my friend, I would have beaten her up with a basketball bat until she would have forgotten this man's name, okay? I would have dragged her out the door by her ponytail. I don't know, no. So yeah, I guess you can say this was sadly not my favourite read. However, it was still fun. It wasn't what I needed at the time, which might influence a little how I feel about this. So yeah, you might want to give it a shot. It just wasn't fully mine, I feel. But yeah, I might read the other ones. Now, before we come to the last 2 books I read this month, I wanted to present you with the 4 books that I started this month and did not finish, but I thought these were worth mentioning. So we all know, because I've been working on this book for ages now, that I've started Shadow Me by Talia. I cannot pronounce his name, I'm so sorry. And I am almost through. Okay, no, I'm like halfway. I don't know, it just doesn't catch me yet. I don't know. I needed a break of forcing myself to read something, which I'm quite happy I found. I'll get to that, but yeah, we'll see. I've had a lot of mixed reviews about it, so I feel like this might be another book that just isn't particularly for me, but we'll see. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about Juliet. I literally forgot her name, and she lives in quite a dystopian world where resources aren't enough for everyone, and there's like a strict regime, and she has a special power, which is that if you touch her, you go through excruciating pain and die. And the power currently ruling her world always tells me I wasn't enjoying it as much. But this just follows a girl whose name is Lily, and Lily is curvy. This is a curvy and sapphic romance. I didn't get to the sapphic part yet, but it is basically a very cute book about her summer before university, about her like finding herself and stuff, and it is very nicely written, and it is very cute. I got about this far, but for me it wasn't the most exciting book so far. Again, I'll probably finish this eventually. Just for my mental health, currently I cannot force myself to read any books, so I am benching this until I feel the motivation to read it. But I think it is a very cute coming of age book that has a lot of lessons to be learned. It was very sweet, it was light, but you know, when you can stop in a book and it's like you don't want to read the next chapter, you can just like close the book and move on with your day. That's how I know I'm not fully invested in a book. Like, if I can put a book down without being forced to, then I'm not 100% invested, and I don't know what to say, but yeah. So this is that so far. Now, and this makes me so sad, because I was very heavily invested in this book when I read the description, and that is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Meyer. Now, I found this when I was browsing. You might have seen it in a past book haul. I was very excited about this book. Basically, the description is that this girl, so many girls here, I can never remember their names. Evie is looking I just kind of listened to it in steps over the month, which always takes a bit out of like the excitement, you do know what I mean. Yeah, so really good though. But now let's get to the book that saved my reading slump currently. And I already have that on my ebook reader. I've said this before, but I have a Tolino Shine. I'm not a Kindle girly. I think these tend to be a little more famous in Germany, maybe, because these are the ebook readers from German bookstores, or I don't know if they're only German, but it's a network of German bookstores, and they basically each have their own brand of ebook readers. Now, Tolino is Talia's brand. Talia is the bookstore I usually shop my hard copies with. Now that being said, it's kind of like the store in my city that I always go to and stuff. So it was kind of my choice of ebook reader. However, these multiple bookstores that are connected, and if you purchase an ebook with any of these bookstores, you can have it on your Kindle. And now that was just, at the time when I got my stuff, way more inclusive than the Amazon selection of books. And I also like to support my local bookstores a little, instead of Amazon, you know. So I'm a Tolino girly. It works the same as a Kindle, it's just not Amazon. But yeah, and you guys, thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, okay? Because it was you guys that put me onto this, because I bought in a previous haul, I got Once Upon a Broken Heart by, let me look, Stephanie Garber. Sorry, my mind today with the names is gone. By Stephanie Garber. And I got a lot of comments that I should read Caravel first, because it kind of introduces a few characters that are going to be in that new series. So I was mulling it over for ages, because I'm really excited to start Once Upon a Broken Heart, but I did start reading Caravel, which I already had as an ebook. And oh my god, you guys, I loved Caravel. I loved it. I've read Caravel and Legendary, I think it's Legendary, which is the second book, in October. I gave both 5 stars on Goodreads, and I have been, and I'm still reading Vanel, which is the 3rd book in the series. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So that's what I'm currently reading, and you guys, I love you forever for putting me onto this book. I only got Once Upon a Broken Heart as well because of you, because I was like a really recommended book under my videos. And yeah, I'm loving Caravel. So good. It just kind of finally got me out of this melancholy of my reading. So it is about 2 sisters, Scarlett and Donatella, who's short Tella. And there's this almost circus-like Caravel every year, I believe, which is a magical event hosted by Legend, who is magical, I guess. And yeah, he hosts Caravel 11. So yeah, I love this book. I can't wait to read Once Upon a Broken Heart now. I'm heavily theorizing what it's going to be about. But yeah, I'm super duper 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 excited to see what it is going to be. And what the story is actually going to entail. But so far, so good. I really love Stephanie Garber's writing style. So I think it'll only be good. Yeah, so that's on my plan for the month of November, which has already started at this point. But I've been reading Vanel a lot, and I've been basically reading every single day, which is really good for me. It's been very nice to take my ebook reader, to be fair, because I just chuck it in my purse when I leave for lab in the morning, and I commute for 30 minutes, so I always have some time in the morning to read, and then when I'm going home as well. So I'm already reading for guaranteed 1 hour of the day, and then I usually sit down with my book at night as well. So that's been feeling really, really good. I'm in a very positive reading mood lately, which is making me really happy lately. So yeah, thank you guys again for suggesting this book to me. I couldn't be more happy that I started it. And I'm probably going to finish up this video now and then sit down with Finale and potentially finish it today, so quite excited for that. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope I can show you more actual read books next month, but until then, I hope you're staying safe. Tell me what book you are going to be reading in the month of November, and I can't wait to tell you more at the end of this month, because also, my friends, we are, when this video comes up, Fourth Wing Part 2 Iron Flame is going to be launching, and I have it pre-ordered, so I hope I'm going to get it quite early, please. So I'm debating rereading Fourth Wing as well, but I just don't know when, like no time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I